As I remember, in Baguio we had the last typhoon of second alphabet. So it means maybe typhoon of 52nd. Quite a lot for 100 days, yeah? And then suddenly we could not find all the necessary airplane tickets. I needed 15, 16 tickets for my delegation, but with big problems we could obtain 6 seats, and so I was in the 6 with another 5 people, and the rest of the team, they could stay another 4 or 5 days in Philippines just to be able to go back to Moscow. And of course it was big honor for chess and for organizers that President of Philippines, Marcos, he had meeting with Karpov and Korchnoi in Manila. Then he came here for this match, and even I could be able to participate in an international conference about population of the world, which was held in Manila. And after conference, I was guest for the official dinner, and I could sit together with President of Philippines, Mr. Marcos, and his wife, Milena Marcos. And so it was a big honor, and I think it was also some interest, big interest, which President family could show to the world about chess and chess activity in the country, in the Philippines. But just to explain you something, team of Philippines, first time they played an Olympiad in 1956, if I remember well, but not everybody knows that Olympiad of 1956 was held in Moscow. And Mr. Kampamanis was a member, I think even leading chess player of the team. And so he knew already Russia, and it was well-organized Olympiad. But 1978 was the second time for me to come to Philippines and to participate in competition. The first time appeared immediately after governments and leaders of the countries, they signed agreement about diplomatic relations in 76. So in 76, we didn't have embassy office of Philippines in Moscow, we didn't have embassy office of Soviet Union in Manila, and so I had to take transit city of Tokyo, and then I stayed there 3 days on the way to Philippines. The first day I visited Philippine embassy in Japan, and suddenly I had to meet bureaucracy problems to obtain visa to visit Philippines. Even I had invitation by president. I called Kampamanis immediately, and then he said, no, we want you to be in 2 days in Philippines. And so he took plane, he came to Tokyo, and then we went together to the Philippine embassy, and with Kampamanis' presence, they issued visa immediately, I think 10 or 15 minutes. And so I was able to come to Philippines, to Manila, and we had very good tournament of 4 international grandmasters. And in that tournament, the first grandmaster of Philippines, and he was also the first grandmaster of Asian continent, Mr. Torre, he took play and participation in that tournament. And another 2 players, we had Ljubojevic from Yugoslavia and Walter Brown from the United States. So it was a strong tournament, and it was well-organized tournament. But I visited only Manila, and then the last round we played in some village sport camp. I think maybe 30-40 kilometers from Manila. But this was not a good idea because for sport it was okay, but they had no nice tournament hall for chess. But still we finished the tournament. And then Baguio was for the second trip, my trip to Philippines. And altogether, I think I was 5 times. But last time I got invitation from President Ramos. In 1998, he wanted to celebrate 20 years of match in Baguio. And it took place in Manila, and so I arrived in Philippines, and so this was last time before this opportunity. It means that last time I was in Philippines 25 years ago, but I can see that interest to chess is quite high. And yesterday I had meeting with sport people and chess players in Manila. We had, I think, about 300 people and many journalists and TV. And today in newspapers you can see some reports from yesterday meeting. And we are glad and happy that I'm part of Moscow delegation, the head of Moscow delegation you heard already, Minister of Moscow government, Mr. Chairman. And so he signed agreement between Moscow and Manila. And yesterday we visited city of Manila, office of Manila, and we met deputies of the city parliament, city council, and they voted when we were there, and so the agreement between Manila and Moscow was supported by all the deputies without any exception. So it was very glad, and I think we have many future opportunities to exchange in world or in area of culture, area of sport, let's say area of music, to separate from culture, area of music, and also commercial projects, which could be also interesting because Moscow is developing, Manila is developing. So in '76, if I remember well, in Manila you had 4.5 million inhabitants. Now you have over 12 million. So it's big development, and Manila is growing up, and Moscow now has official and not official residents, around 15 million people. So, and we have a lot of achievements in organization, public transport and many things, and underground. So Manila can get this example to use the best things what we have in Moscow. And so I wish you all the best and good luck. And only one thing: in '70s and '80s, Philippines could take the lead in chess world in Asia, and Philippines became better, stronger than Indonesia. But then somehow the speed was a little bit slow and lost, and so now it's very difficult. Even you have grandmasters, many grandmasters, but now Philippines is behind China, India, maybe Iran. Iran had big achievements in chess for last 25 years. But last World Team Championship was won by Uzbekistan, which is also a very strong country now in chess. And then you have Kazakhstan, then you have Kyrgyzstan, so these former Soviet Union republics, but now they are separate states, and so it's not so easy to take chance to be on the top, even to be between or among best 3 teams or best 5 teams. This will be already successful. So I wish you to come back to the top of teams of Asian countries. And what is important, and I think we can have exchange of experience. Nowadays in Russia, we have two ministers for higher education and school educations, and they both support the idea to start to study chess in Russian schools and in Russian institutes to prepare chess teachers. And I think end of this year we shall start this program. And in some regions we have already chess in all schools. So somebody who knows a little bit geography of Russia, one city, Kaluga, very old city, which is extremely famous in the area of cosmos, because Tsiolkovsky, one of the first scientists, he was living in that city, in Kaluga. And so Kaluga is the first province of Russia who has which has chess education in all schools, all public schools. Then we have close to this Tatarstan. You know, Russia has over 80 nationalities living in the country. Tatarstan is one of the biggest republic of nation of Tatar. And so they're close to have chess education in all schools. Then Tyumen, this is huge province. Tyumen has squares, I think, maybe like two times France and Germany together. So this big area, very big area. And we have Karpov chess schools there in all parts. And in the south part of Tyumen, I brought chess education already in 350 schools. And we have now more than 400 chess teachers for the schools. So this year in September, and this agreement with the government of the region, in September we shall have chess in all schools of south of Tyumen province. We have, I think, 420 or 430 schools. So it's still a lot, but we have done already many things. And of course, in Russia it will be government program. And what I can say, this will be probably new for you. In the world, it's in some parts known. So I have a school in Salihard, the only school on the polar circle of our planet. And so, let's say one of the best lady chess player, Goryachkina Alexandra, and she played even match for the world title. She was pupil of that my polar school. Now she moved to Moscow. And then recently, 3 months ago, I visited Chukotka. Do you know this place? Chukotka. This is big peninsula just on the border of Russia, opposite to the United States, to Alaska. And so in the capital of Chukotka, they have 60,000 people living in the capital. They asked me to open Karpov chess school in Anadырь, and so it will be the second Karpov chess school on the polar area of the planet. And of course in Russia, in other parts I have many schools, and I have many schools in different countries. I have schools in Latin America, in Central America, in the United States, in European countries. And 3 days ago I was in Egypt. We had international conference of Asian nations in Cairo, and then I had meeting with chess players of Cairo, and we discussed the plans to open Karpov chess school in Alexandria, where they have the best library of our planet. This best library was built, I think, 20 years ago. It was a special project of UNESCO. You know, this organization of the United Nations, which is doing things for education, for culture and science. And so it was a special project, and it was built very well. I visited this library 12 years ago, and so now we are coming back to the plans we had in mind 12 years ago, and probably next year, maybe we start this year to discuss and to make agreement, and probably next year we shall open Karpov Chess School in Egypt. So it will be second chess school in African countries, because end of February in Tunis I will open my chess school, and with activists of chess world in Tunis we have agreement, and they will organize this year first Karpov Chess Cup for young chess players of Arabic countries. In Tunis they have nice island, Jerba, and so there we shall have tournament for Arab countries youth, and there we shall have 2 chess school sessions, Karpov chess school sessions. One, we will invite young children from Arab countries, and another, it will be school for kids of Slavic countries for 2 weeks both. So it will be good move to develop chess in Tunis and in the north of Africa. And then I'm close to finish my speech, but I must say that today you will see the movie about Baguio match. This is not movie about Karpov. This is movie about Baguio match, and it is art movie, not documentary. And we had the best team of Russian actors who were doing films, movies, and young Yankovsky, he played role of Karpov, and just recently, 5 days ago, he received the first premiere of the best actor in Russia for last year, and then Khobensky was playing Korchnoi. Khobensky is very famous. He is one of the best actors already for a long time, and that's why in this movie we have very good team of actors. And of course I am happy for Yankovsky, because I was friends with his grandfather, who was one of the best actors in Soviet Union and Russia. Unfortunately, he passed away. And then when the team who was making movie, they had chosen young Yankovsky, Ivan Yankovsky, I was glad, because he is grandson of my friend, who was one of the best actors in the history of Soviet Union and the first years of Russia independent state. And then we received first premium for the best music in the movie, and then movie received the first premium as the best art movie from the last year for Russia. And so it happened just 5 days ago. They didn't make this decision especially for my trip to Egypt and Philippines, but they did it, and so it's happy to have such prizes, and for you to be able to see one of the best chess movies, I think, in the world. So this movie has some fantasies, but very light fantasies mostly. This movie presents what happened during the match, and this is completely different movie of Netflix, which probably you saw online, in former online, but that movie has a lot of fantasies. So just to bring more interest and support, American team who was making that movie, the main heroes, they decided to make girl, lady. But in general, I can see in the life of that girl the similarity with the life of Bobby Fischer, who was the only American champion in 1972. But so the decision of producers of that movie was not Fischer, but young lady. And then what I don't like in that film, in that movie, that this young lady at that moment, it's clear, she was ill with drugs. But chess and drugs, they cannot live together. If you use drugs, then you lose your mind. And you lose your ability to concentrate in chess. So this is a wrong fantasy about movie. And even together with Zsuzsa Polgar, who was world champion in ladies chess. She was born in Hungary, now she lives in America. So in 2003 or 4, we started a program, Chess Against Drugs. It was a program for America, and we received support of former president. Actually, in America, they don't use this type former. As President of United States, Jimmy Carter, and it was personal trip to open that program. Gorbachev was our Soviet Union president. He was in America, and so he accepted invitation, and so he came to that city, and we started this program. And I have hope that chess can decrease the problem of society with drugs. So I hope that you could hear me and you would never try to use drugs in your life. And I wish you all the best, good health and success in sport and in chess. Thank you.